Asad Durrani, it comes back to the point that this is a Frankenstein which Pakistan and the ISI created. It's now coming back home. It's coming back to bite Pakistan and its own people. The fact is, the sincerity of the Pakistani establishment can simply be judged if they go ahead and crack down on this man. All it takes is a mere FIR to be registered against him and that he stand trial in a court of law in that country. And as long as that doesn't happen, nobody, forget about India, nobody in the international community is going to say that Pakistan is sincere about cracking down on terror. Lieutenant General Durrani.
Not looking for any applauses from the international community. For me, it's more important as to how the two countries can find ways to, work through this very big jungle that exists. Militancy is just one part of it. I do not know, whenever people say Frankenstein monster coming back, I cannot see the audience there, I'm not in the studio, but I some or other feel that there might even be some Schadenfreude, hidden behind these remarks. But very frankly, very sincerely,
let me ask you a very simple question,
process, just listen to me.
Yeah.
Listen, no, you don't ask me any question, let me complete the answer.
Yeah, go ahead.
And that is that if we are talking about the dialogue process and the peace process, if it is going to be hinged on benchmarks like arrest this man and crack down there, then of course there will be no progress. That's true.
No, let me ask you a simple question. Do you or do you not believe that this whole creation of aiding and fomenting terrorist outfits, which was a part of Pakistani establishment state policy, has actually come back to bite not just the establishment but the country itself? That today Pakistan is worse off for the likes of Hafiz Saeed and Syed Salahuddin and the entire ilk than they were before?
We live in a real world. One creates these groups for a certain purpose. If they hit back, whether it is Hafiz Saeed or Bhindranwala or LTT or Hamas, well, that's part of life. You just get on with it, try and take care of whatever you can, because there is no other mechanism that I know in which before you form a policy, you know the next 20, 30 or 40, 50 years. We go along. If we have not done, if we have not managed the fallout, the damage correctly, we pay the price, and then you can see the result as to how it happens.
July 15th, the foreign ministers will be meeting, and hopefully we're told sometime on the sidelines of the UNGA in September, the prime ministers will be meeting as well. The prime minister started a process of trying to reduce the trust deficit with Pakistan beginning in Thimphu in April. Where is this process headed to? I mean, and what are we really looking at realistically?
Well, how you report it to your viewers is how it evolves. Rather than prophesizing or trying to second-guess outcomes, I think it's better to err on the side of caution and let events play themselves out and report it as objectively to your viewers as you possibly can, so that you can keep it in the loop. Because I don't think that at this stage it would be appropriate for anybody to try and second-guess meetings which have not taken place, meetings which may be on the agenda but may not have been scheduled at the moment. So I guess it's really premature. You need to sort of take it as it comes.
Okay, KC Singh, closing comments. Do you genuinely believe that we'll see some kind of incremental progress, even if it's just merely incremental, when the two foreign ministers meet?
I think the Home Minister's visit has done one thing. It has at least provided a mechanism to separate the terrorism issue from the dialogue process, which is a problem the government had been having since 26/11. They didn't know how to separate the two. But that can only be separate up to a point till the next big attack takes place. As far as the dialogue is concerned, I think they have deconstructed it, and they'll be again putting it together to see what are the subjects they have to move on. Foreign Secretary talked of doables. Maybe they act on things which are doable first and then the more complex things later. But certainly it's not going to be the composite dialogue as we have understood it in the past. Few new subjects have come up. Afghanistan and water have become very, very critical issues, and they can derail the process. Therefore, there is a rethink taking place and reinvention of the dialogue.
MJ Akbar, is this a metamorphosis that the dialogue is undergoing and we should be patient with this entire process, or is there anything to hope for at all?
Well, I mean, you certainly don't want to hope for absence of dialogue. So to that extent, anything that continues as a process, because in the two nations are neighbors and they have to engage with each other. But I think that this trust deficit problem that the Prime Minister has spoken about, which is a reality. Actually, the Prime Minister has conceded a great deal in terms of the bilateral texts on terrorism and so on as part of his process. I mean, it's part of his, let's say, his goodwill that he's showing. But all of this can be reversed if the reality of terrorism is not reversed. Now, that is what we are talking about. What is the point of you and me talking about if outside the studio there are 400 gunmen waiting to kill both of us? Maybe we are in it together, all right. But that doesn't solve the problem.
Okay, fair point made, and I guess very well summarized as well. Thanks very much, MJ Akbar, Manish Tiwari and KC Singh for joining us on the big debate on Centre Stage tonight. We'll, of course, just have to leave it to the foreign ministers to see how they can take this process forward. But the only thing we're hoping is that even if we get halfway sincerity from Pakistan in cracking down, because at the end of the day, it's not just about India or the international community, even the ordinary Pakistani on the street is affected by the spectre of terror.